Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within.
But for one glorious minute, I was able to go play trains and people throw money at me, or they would give me business cards, or they would invite me to, record projects with them. And it was a very warm, intriguing introduction to New York and like the musical underground. Just want a holiday in the town.
You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer.
On this episode of the What's Your Inspiration podcast, we have Wynne Charles. Born with cerebral palsy, Wynne has defied the odds by becoming an author. Her memoir, I Win, is an amazing story of how she recalls her life through the years of having CP. As a competitor in the Kona IronMan Triathlon, CEO of her own jewelry design company, and motivational speaker, Wynne is truly an inspiration to many. Today she tours the country, speaking to schools and institutions to raise awareness about CP and living a full life no matter what holds you back. She is also an advocate for veterans around the world. This should be fun. Here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 41 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Today, as always, a very special guest on. She is a best-selling author, athlete, and artist who loves to interview dynamic people just like herself. She is Wynne Charles. Wynne, how are you today?
I am perfectly fine, Fox, and thank you for having me on your podcast now. And you guys should probably go back and listen to my podcast with Fox because we had a fun time on that one too. And so I'm excited to do this today.
I am too. And thank you for the invite and letting me be on your Ask Wynne podcast. People, Wynne is amazing, and we'll get into that. She recently, this is going back about 2 weeks ago, recorded her 1,000th podcast episode. That is 1,000. 1 and 3 zeros. Wynne, how have you done that?
Well, by the way, I have ataxia spastic CP. For those of you who have listened to Fox on his podcast, you may understand that he has cerebral palsy too. So, except there's only a couple of us that do podcast out there. There's not very many women in podcasting to begin with, and especially when you double that with a physical disability like cerebral palsy, and we get tongue-tied, and we sometimes trip over our own tongues. I don't know about you, Fox, but I tend to trip over my own tongue. I said to a guest today, I said, can I speak English? Can a journalism student speak English? And this guest starts laughing because I'm like, yeah, you would think after my 1000th episode, I would be able to speak English, but nope.
Well, if you go back into my episodes, Wynne, and everyone else, they know I trip over my words constantly. It's just part of the process, right?
Yeah, it's just part of the process.
So, going into your story, your CP story, we've talked at a bit of length about this. You weren't diagnosed until you were 31 years old, and
I was diagnosed in 87. I didn't find out my official diagnosis until I was 31 years old. My mother told me that I had CP at the bottom of a driveway at the private school where I went to, but she left it at that, and God knows I love her. But at the time, I wasn't expecting that one on the drive to school, and she said, go have a nice day. You have CP now, go have a nice day. And I'm like, Mom, I'm about to kill you, but that's okay. But since then, she passed away from meningitis / slow leaking brain aneurysm. Don't ask, I still haven't figured that one out, how my mom got a slow leaking brain aneurysm, got that clotted, and then passed away from meningitis due to medical malpractice. And so, in the process of me getting her trust fund, the portion of her trust fund, because they had to give it to someone, so they gave it to the next of kin, which is me. I had to take a psychology test. And in the process of me doing that, the psychologist thought I knew that I had CP. Well, I knew I had CP, but I didn't know the official diagnosis. So I'm reading the psychology report on me, of course, and I'm like, wait a minute, she put my official diagnosis on this front page of this psychology report. That answers a heck of a lot of answers, because here I thought I had the mixed bag of CP for so many years, and I kept telling my fan base, oh, it's a mixed bag. Oh, it's a mixed bag. All I know is I have CP. So even though I got diagnosed in 87, and even though I found out about it when I was in 7th grade, I didn't get, quote, officially diagnosed of my official diagnosis until I was 31 years old.
And I don't, want to ask about age or anything like that, but when did you, in what year did you turn 31? Is this pretty recent?
I lost my mom when I was 23 years old.
Okay.
So I turned 29 in 2000, and so it's 2019 now. I turned 31 in 2018 because my birthday's in June.
Okay, so you were born in 87, in other words.
I was born in 87, correct.
Okay. Excellent. Along this ride, your daily grind with living with CP, what to you is the most difficult part of your day?
Oh, getting dressed. We talked about this on my podcast. I need 24-hour care, and that's why I still live with my dad and my stepmom, and I need 24-hour care. If I could get myself dressed, I would be the happiest I would be the happiest woman on the planet. But because the way CP affects me, I can't shower myself, I can't dress myself. I wish, but nope. So I need 24-hour care. So that's the most challenging part of my day. I'm like, oh, great.
But even though it's a challenging part of your day, you've still gone on to challenge yourself constantly throughout your life. We've said the third time in the podcast, when you are a best-selling author, you're an athlete, you're an artist, you are a podcast host. I mean, you put out podcasts that are very engaging, and you do this fiendishly and done it over 1,000 times since 2010. So through all of this, the daily grind of living with CP, and then doing what you do, being as dynamic as you are, what has been your biggest life lesson through all of this?
Oh, God. I ask that question to my guest all the time. Are you trying to put one of my questions on your podcast?
I absolutely am. Yes.
My biggest life lesson in all this is never to give up.
Never to give up. Do you feel like there's a big difference between, are you somebody that simply persists, or do you persevere?
I am the type that perseveres.
No question.
I mean, I have a wonky kneecap that likes to do a dance due to the spastic part of my CP, not the ataxia part, but the spastic part. I have a wonky hip, a wonky kneecap, and when it pops out, I pop it back in, and I've been knowing to walk on it, and I'll say, I'm fine. You just watch a kneecap pop out. I'm fine. So yeah, I'm the type that persists.
You certainly do. I mean, and, again, persistence. We need to understand that it is charging toward a goal, and in your trek toward the goal, oftentimes things don't work out the way that you want them to. In your case, things aren't aligned in your body the way that most are, and I'm guessing that's very, very painful to pop your kneecap back in.
No, no, I know
It's
how
par
to
for the
do it.
course.
That I can sit there stoically and do it. I have the weirdest position was when I got dropped and I had a full-on snowboard on me, and someone dropped me. They weren't paying attention, and they dropped me off a ski lift. Obviously, the weight of the board popped my kneecap out, and so I had to sit down and pop it back in.
Wow. That's, I mean, unfathomable. I can't fathom that. And only because of that situation, but also because you've done it time and time again. That is amazing, Win. Amazing.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Let's continue with the next question. I stole this from you as well. Out of all the things that you do, you're writing, you work as an athlete and an artist. What do you feel like is your biggest life achievement, and why?
Oh, my biggest life achievement is making other people happy with my books.
No question about it. No question about it. And how many books have you written?
I have written 9 books out, and I'm getting my 10th book tomorrow, actually, when this podcast comes out in March. My 10th book will finally be out, and it's about Kate Spade and her committing suicide, and it's a novel based on that. And so hopefully it will be published by a small publisher. I have now given up the fox trot on Amazon, so to speak, because when Amazon did a fox trot dance with Kindle Direct Publishing, they made authors a heck of a pain of a mess, because they made every author transfer over, and they weren't very helpful. And so I said, I'm done. I said, I will find a publisher. I will pay a publisher, if worse comes to worse, and to help me publish my books.
Got you. And you've done it. You've found a way to get to where you want to go. Kudos to you, Win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
No question. No question. When it is time to play a game called What, Which, and Where. We've discussed it before we got on here on the podcast. You know what to do. I'm going to read you a line. It might be from a book, a movie, or just somebody that you hold very dear, and you tell me from who it came. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Here we go. Statement number 1 in What, Which, and Where, Win. It goes like this. If you need something from somebody, always give that person a way to give it to you.
If you need something, my answer would be always ask for help.
I'll say it one more time. See if you can really nail it down. If you need something from somebody, always give that person a way to give it to you.
Jesus, you stumped me. I don't know.
It's something and someone that I think is very near and dear to you, Win.
Well, I guess that would be my family.
That would be a very, very good guess. But it comes from The Secret Life of Bees, Win, from Sue Monk Kidd.
Oh my God! You pulled out of my one favorite books, and now I have to go back and reread. Oopsies! I'm like, where the well, you pulled out of you pulled a rabbit out of a hat on that one. I'm like, okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just going off of your some of your tastes, so I found that
good, but I'm like,
me.
okay. Now I have to go back and read The Secret Life of Bees.
What made that? What makes that such a good book for you to read? Why do you like it so much?
Well, number one, I listened to it on audio tape with my mom, and number two, it talks about diversity, because in that book, there's obviously, we're talking about slavery, so it talks about diversity, so that's why that book sticks out in my mind.
Gotcha. I think I recall reading it for the first time in graduate school, believe it or not, in probably about 2006 or 2007. Highly recommended, and I love the audio version. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd. All right, Win, let's redeem yourself. Statement number 2 in What, Which, and Where. This is a conversation, obviously, between two people. So person 1 says this: tell me about a time when you work hard to solve the problem. Person responds, this morning, getting up.
That would have been me, and I think it was, I said that on my podcast to someone, because I was having I know who it was. Now, I said that to you on my podcast this morning, getting up, because I remember talking about it.
We sure did. And I've told you
this morning, getting up. I love it, Fox. I definitely love it. I mean, yeah.
Well, only the best for you here, Win. Only the best.
Only the best. I love it.
Only the best.
Absolutely love it. This morning, getting up. Oh, God. That's my classic line. I'm like, really? Do I really have to face pulling on my pants again? No. That's why the hardest part of my day is getting dressed. I'm like really sleepy. Depending on whether my tone is high or not. And right now my tone and muscle spasms are low enough that I can function and put a pair of pants on. But that's my biggest challenge in life: getting up and getting dressed.
And once you do that, you just straight up kick butt.
Yes.
Well, that there's no question that you and I have talked about that, and that's a challenge for both of us for similar reasons. And I also got that from one of your favorite movies you recently watched called The Upside.
Yeah. Talk about the power of friendship. No, when I was filling out, I have to tell you a little secret here, you guys. When I was filling out the form, I recently saw The Upside the day you handed me the Google form, and so I'm like, okay, let's put a recent movie that talks about disabilities. So if you guys get a chance to go see it.
Definitely, and I haven't yet, but especially coming from you, I'm gonna give that a watch. The Upside. Bryan Cranston is one of the actors. Who's the other principal actor?
Ryan Hart. Ryan Hart plays the CNA.
Oh, that's right. The Upside, in theaters and soon on Netflix and probably on demand.
No, it's going to be everywhere. And here's a tidbit for you guys. And no, it's not a spoiler, the Upside is actually a remake. The Upside is based on a French novel, and they actually made a movie on that book, and then the Upside is actually the remake version.
I was not aware of that, and I'm sure.
I wasn't aware of that either until I heard it on a podcast the next morning. I'm like, wow.
It's amazing, and it's amazing too, as a fan of music, how many songs that come out that we seem to think are brand new are covers. So, yeah, if you keep your antenna up, you'll figure out and find out things you never knew were true. All right, Win, you are 1 for 2 in what, which, and where. Here is the tiebreaker. You ready?
Yep.
Here it goes. It goes like this. Without courage, you can't practice any virtue consistently.
Without courage, you can't practice any virtue consistently, and that would have been me saying a quote to someone, but I can't remember who.
It is one of your favorites, Maya Angelou.
Oh geez. I think I know I really screwed that. No, it's another quote by her is, "You will always forget what people say, but you will never forget how you made them feel."
And that's one of something I live off of as a teacher. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We go through so much as teachers, and I know you do as a podcast host, but I know that the main reason you do this is to have an effect on people. And I want to let you know that we've only known each other for a short time, but you are a hero because you are constantly intent in making this world a better place.
Well, thank you, Mr. Fox, for saying that. No, and my next trick is a children's book, and I made the declaration on my podcast that I'm going to write a children's book, and hopefully that children's book will be out. And yeah, because I need to quit empowering the adults in my life. I need to empower the kids too.
And you are. You've done it over 1,000 times, for sure, and many others. So don't worry about that. Just continue being yourself, and you can't go wrong. When I want to wrap this up here with a scenario that I usually throw at the people that I have on, and it goes like this. We know all heroes don't wear a cape, but if you had the opportunity to take a 1-hour car ride with one of the following 3 people, who would it be and why? So would you take that car ride with Maya Angelou, Bryan Cranston, or Sue Monk Kidd?
I would take that car ride with Sue Monk Kidd, The Secret Life of Bees, because I want to know how she captivated me and captivated my mom, and talks about all over the place. And yes, they had bees in the book. Yes, they had slavery in the book. But I would love to take that car ride with Sue Monk Kidd, because I want to know how she wrote such a captivating book.
I'd like to know that too. And when I'm not familiar on the background of the book, but when was it first published?
God, I have to now look that up. I have to not only reread The Secret Life of Bees again, but I have to look that up. When was it published?
Well, we'll get that research done.
We'll put Google on it, you guys.
We'll put it in the show notes, right? We'll put Google on it and put it in the show notes after we wrap up here, and y'all hear this. Wynn, to officially wrap up here, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, people can get in touch with me via Twitter, Win Kelly Charles, WIN, Kelly, KELLY, Charles, CHARLES, and of course it's the @ sign, and I'm always interacting with my fans. I do almost a daily Periscope, so people can catch me that. They can also catch me doing Ask Win and doing all these other podcasts, and yeah.
There's a lot of ways to get in touch, and I would obviously highly recommend, because you've had a big effect on my life in our short time together. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you for that, and thank you for returning the favor and inviting me on yours, and hopefully we inspired 2 million people together with the same disability but in different capacities.
For sure. And to leave our listeners with something, when I want you to give them a little advice. So, and the advice is, what advice do you have for people who have felt like they have hit rock bottom?
Ask for help. Ask for help. I'm asking for help all the time. And if you hit rock bottom and you can't seem to move the rock to climb up the rock, ask for help.
And then there's no question you'll come out on top, right?
Nope.
No question. When this has been an absolute blast. Thank you for your time, your space, and your story. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that will wrap up episode 41 of the What's Your Inspiration podcast. Wynn and I will talk at you all later. Take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Beyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.
Start the bar high and raise it. Stretch yourself to the limit so much you can't take it. Whatever you're facing, it's in trouble. Everything you do it on the double. Go beyond the beyond. Go beyond the beyond. Every day, find that extra gear. For in your mind, the finish line is clear. Ready, set, and on your mark. You have the keys and your double park. Go beyond the beyond. Go beyond the beyond. For through your pain, you will heal. Find your demons and toss them, your own fears. Ready yourself for the ultimate spectacle. Strap it on and create your own miracles. Go beyond the beyond. Be the best human you ever knew. A story that we can all aspire to. Go beyond the beyond. Go beyond the beyond.